You're probably really excited about your next big offer, whether it's a done-for-you service, a new retainer package, or just some sort of premium offer that you haven't had before. But I'm gonna stop you right here because launching without the right foundation in place is how so many service-based business owners end up losing momentum, time, and money. So before you roll out your next service, watch this video. So let's talk about why you're launching a new offering. The reality is most people are going to say that they're looking to hit some sort of next level, whether that next level is based on growth in terms of acquiring more customers or increasing their revenue, or just even increasing their impact when it comes to what they're able to provide for their clients. But here's the thing, what I've found working with a lot of service-based business owners is that there's a lot of emotion behind launching and not a lot of data and facts. So one example of this would be launching something new because you feel like your existing or old offer is no longer working, or maybe the revenue around it has just plateaued. So a lot of business owners, their natural next step would be to launch something new. And again, when that's the industry standard, when that's just what everybody does, when that's all the advice that's out there, it completely makes sense to follow that. But I have a feeling that a lot of people don't actually need to be launching something new. And I would argue that the goal is we actually don't want to constantly be launching something new. We want to have a core offering that we have been able to rinse and repeat and that customers absolutely love. If you're finding that there's something about your current offer that is holding you back from really achieving the impact that you're looking to achieve or really getting to the next revenue milestone that you're looking to achieve, then it's time to assess what is working and what isn't working. And we need to do this before just jumping into launching a new offer. So here's a question that I have for you. Have you actually taken the time to do a business retrospective? And if you've never heard that term before, I'm going to explain what it means. A business retrospective is usually something that's done annually. You could also do it quarterly if you want as well. But it's essentially taking the time to look back on your business and assess what is working and what is not working. And we do this from a lot of different lenses when we're running a business retrospective. For example, we definitely want to be looking at our major key performance indicators, our KPIs. So that's metrics like revenue or client acquisition or whatever metrics are important to your business. But here's the thing, we don't want to just look at those numbers. We want to be able to understand the story that the data is telling us. So for example, if our revenue is down or flat from last year, why is that the case? We have to ask ourselves these questions and go and do the investigation. We have to go and do the analysis before we decide to roll out a new service offering. Because the reality is there might be a lot of valid reasons as to why we're experiencing the things in our business. For example, in general, the economy is just a little bit softer right now. People are holding back on making purchasing decisions. This can definitely have an impact on your service-based business, especially if you're somebody who tends to charge more premium pricing when it comes to the services that you offer. And if that's the case, well, you might actually find yourself disappointed when you do launch something new because it might not meet the revenue expectations that you're looking for. Because again, the issue might not be internal. It might not be something related to your business. It could be an external factor, like what I mentioned about, general softening of the economy, people holding back on purchasing. These are things that even if you launch a new offer, you might find yourself disappointed with the outcome and with the results. But that's just one example to show you that a lot of people don't actually do the analysis before launching a new service. And what I find is if you're somebody who is a creative, a multi-passionate, oftentimes you want to launch something new. You want to do something different in your business in order for things to feel interesting for you because you have a little bit of shiny object syndrome. Yes, you might not be chasing something new by completely starting a new business or anything like that, but you are chasing something that feels new within your own business structure, even if it might not actually be the best decision for you. And to really highlight why that's not a good decision to make, I want to emphasize the fact that launching in that way for that reason is actually prioritizing yourself. It's not prioritizing your clients or potential clients and what they're really looking for. And it's not really launching with, the business growth in mind and at the forefront either. You might not be launching really for the purpose of revenue. You could just be launching because you're having this itch to do something new in your business. So let's go over 3 signs that you should not be launching that new offer yet, and you maybe need to peel back and scale back on this idea. So the first sign is that you don't yet have consistent demand on your core offer. And if you're watching this video, you are somebody who has already made money from your business. This isn't your first rodeo. You have demand, you've had clients before. However, consistent demand might be a challenge. And if that's the case, you definitely want to peel back before launching something new, because the reality is there is still so much opportunity within that core offer, but you just have to find a way to maximize it. You have to find a way to milk it. And you do that, guys, by really doing a deep dive into your business and really assessing what is working, what is not working, what changes and decisions need to be made moving forward. So I had mentioned the idea of a business retrospective and how it's something typically done annually, or you could do it up to quarterly in your business. But a key part of a business retrospective is not just the KPIs and the cold hard data that I mentioned to you guys, but it's also assessing you. Because here's the thing, I always say, if you are a small business owner, if you are a solopreneur, it's just you and your business and maybe, a couple contractors or employees. You are your business, meaning how you're feeling about your business. Again, whether you're restless and itching to try something new, or if you're feeling uninspired, whatever it might be, all of these feelings that you have a direct impact and a direct correlation on your business. So it's important to also consider how you're feeling and the direction that you want to take your business long term, and consider how that impacts your life. So maybe when you started your business, you were doing a lot of one-to-one work, and now that you've established revenue, you've gained some momentum, you're actually thinking about, okay, how do I scale my business, and how do I not have to be a part of every single decision that's being made, and how do I not have to be a part of the weeds of the business? We have to consider our businesses holistically, and again, that might include considering things that aren't necessarily cold hard numbers, like I mentioned, or SMART goals, but factors that are qualitative as opposed to quantitative. The second sign that you're not ready to launch that new offer yet is that you do not know your numbers. Here's the thing, guys, I've worked with a lot of different service-based business owners, and you can get really far just providing a really good service, solving a problem for people, and with good marketing. But it does reach a point where you have to boss up and be the CEO in your business. You have to completely be responsible for all of the decisions that are made, good or bad. And part of being able to make good decisions is really just about having the information to make good decisions, having the data in order to make good decisions. And knowing your numbers and having, all of your KPIs mapped out and tracked and actually using them to make decisions, that is absolutely critical to business success. And I truly believe you do not need to be launching a new offer until you've really gotten that part down pat and established that skill set in your business. And I'm gonna tell you guys an example of why that's so important. And it's not just something that you need to do, but you're never actually going to take the time to focus on that skill set. It is so important because a lot of business owners want to achieve more growth in their business, okay? They want to see higher revenue, they want to see higher profit, they want to have more money in their bank account. And the way that everybody thinks that they need to achieve that is by getting more clients, rolling out a new service offering, charging more. These are kind of the default ways that people pursue making more money in their business. But here's the thing, there's actually an alternative way to approach this challenge. And one thing about business, guys, I always encourage people that I work with, or even just somebody viewing my videos, to look at things in the way that other people do not look at them. Approach things from a different perspective, have a different vision. Because here's the thing, if you want different outcomes than everybody else, you have to do things differently. So the way that most people approach making more profit, making more money in their business, having more money hit their bank account, is that they tend to do one of those three things that I mentioned to you. But you don't even have to do all of that. We all know that profit is essentially your revenue minus all of your costs, all of your expenses, right? So instead of just trying to increase your revenue, you can actually just double down on finding creative opportunities to decrease your expenses. I'm telling you, focusing on this approach is something that nobody ever does, and a lot of small business owners just don't know how to do it, and they definitely aren't prioritizing it. Which ties into the third reason why you need to hold off on launching that new thing, which is you don't have a strategy. I've worked with small and medium-sized businesses for years now, literally over 3 years. And I can tell you that even businesses making good money, a lot of them don't have a strategy in place. And because of that, they're leaving so much money on the table. It's actually insane. There's one business I have in mind who I always tell this story, but I estimate that they had more than $500,000 in lost sales annually just because they could not get right so many aspects around strategy. And here's the thing, strategy is not what a lot of people think it is. A lot of people think that strategy is, I'm posting on Instagram 3 times a week. Like, that's not a strategy, right? Those are the tactics that you are going to use in order to maybe help accomplish your goals of, getting more followers or whatever it is. But that in itself is not a strategy. So if that's not a strategy, what is a strategy? Strategy is simply the coherent approach to accomplishing progress. I'm going to say that one more time. Strategy is the coherent approach to accomplishing progress. So your strategy gives you the destination that you're looking to head towards, and it gives you a map for how you're going to get there. But it's not the details in terms of what mode of transportation are you going to use? Are you going to take the scenic route or not? It's not those details. It is the high-level approach for how you are going to accomplish what you're going to accomplish and where it is that you want to end up, what the destination is. If you'd like more personalized support on developing a strategy, if you really want somebody to hold your hand, then book a call with me down below in the description box and I can help you guys with that. But I'm telling you guys, this is an essential step, not only to know if you should be launching, your next service or not, but it is an essential step to achieving the growth that you're looking for in your business and the freedom that you're looking for in your business. And here's the thing, guys, there is a real cost to launching too many things too quickly, too soon. And don't get me wrong, I am all for taking action. I'm a person that believes that perfectionism doesn't exist and you don't have to have everything fully figured out in order to make things happen for yourself. However, if you are somebody who is no longer in the day one stage of your business, then you cannot continue to operate the same way that you did in day one. In your early years of business, you just have to take risks. You just have to try and make things happen. But once again, things have happened and once you're making money, in order to achieve that next level, which looks like more growth, less time spent in your business, higher impact, then you have to do things differently. And this is where the strategy component really comes in when it comes to operating in your business, because again, if you don't have that strategy, you're gonna find yourself in a place where you are constantly burnt out, where you are getting exhausted, and where you're no longer feeling passionate about the work that you're doing, the clients that you're serving. You essentially have made yourself an employee instead of being somebody who is operating in a CEO space and framework. And if you want to know more about what it looks like to operate in a CEO framework, in a CEO mindset, I have so many videos about that. I actually released a whole masterclass that has to do with this. So make sure you guys check out those videos next, because when it comes to launching successfully and when it comes to if you should be launching that next offer, again, you really should be making decisions strategically and operating in that CEO framework. So before launching that next service, again, we need to have a pulse on our business, we need to really understand our metrics, and we need to have an understanding of where this new service offering fits into our strategy. Because it's not just about chasing the next buck for this month, the next quarter. We need to work on building things strategically. So if this video gave you guys a new perspective, make sure you hit that like button down below and don't forget to subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.